This episode is brought to you by Muntins Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Muntins has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Muntins offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Muntins malt. You know, we've known the Muntins crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Muntins malts, or homebrewers can join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club, be a part of the community, and come brew with us. Thank you, Muntins, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by Hopsdirect.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, Hopsdirect.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsdirect.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsdirect.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsdirect.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Unexplainable Low ABV, mash paddle recommendations, and troubleshooting why my CO2 isn't flowing while I'm forced carbonating my beer. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 385. Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you, my friend, have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com. You could click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, you could call it in to 325-305-6107. And if we use your voicemail on a future episode, preferably a question, could be feedback, but preferably a question. If we use it on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Stewing, joined as always by the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com, right over there, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President, Chief Keg Washer, and really falling apart, poor guy, is Mr. Todd Burns, right down there. Gentlemen, hello!
Hello.
Yeah, Todd's, if you're not watching on youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, Todd's showboating the meds he got. Let's start first off. Did everyone have a good holiday weekend? James, you and I already talked about it. We both overindulged in cigars on Monday. I'm still, when I lit up 2. You smoked 3. Woo.
One day.
That's why. That's what I mean.
Boredom.
Yeah.
Nothing to do, nothing to clean, nothing to mow.
You should have come by. We were having a pool party.
I told him in hindsight.
That's what Josh said.
Yeah,
cool.
In hindsight, I told him that.
Oh, don't let him tell you, Josh. I invited him before he left on Friday.
Well, he didn't know.
Yeah,
but also,
I can stay home and I ain't got to worry about driving home.
See, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say that the thing is, I crash at the ranch, so I can just, another gin and soda. Oh, another gin and soda. Oh, another. I had to make my own. It wasn't even Topo Chico. It was mineral water based off of the well that I drew from for the mix, but I didn't know where you keep your minerals, Todd. So I just made a batch of Blanket or Maytetz's mineral water for my gin and sodas and just enjoyed myself all day Monday. It was a beautiful thing. So Monday, my family, my wife abandoned me. She left me, guys, finally, but then she came back. But she left for a trip to Portland for a girls' trip, and I was like, what's better than taking my kids to the ranch? And Liz, Todd's wife, is literally the best host in the world.
Oh yeah.
You already know, right? I'm really telling this just to people who don't know her. When you do get to know her, you get to love her, and she is the absolute best host. And thankfully,
She's especially good with kids.
Especially good with kids.
The kid whisperer.
The kid whisperer, and my kids are actually very well behaved. I blame their mother, and so it's a good combination because Liz likes my kids, so it's a wonderful combination. And she I wouldn't say she spoiled them rotten, because she spoils everybody rotten that goes to the ranch, myself included. Why do y'all think I go so frequently? So my kids were in the pool. Todd,
is that what the cause is?
Yeah. I don't want to exaggerate, but how many,
and the free beer?
Yeah,
so.
the free beer, the free gin, the free. I don't want to exaggerate, Todd. How many hours would you say my kids spent in the pool?
I mean, I've never. They were in there all day. I mean, like 15 hours. They were in there forever.
No joke, James. From like right after breakfast until
it got dark,
till bedtime. Yeah, till bedtime. They were
like Emily.
Yeah, your daughter would do that too? Yeah. It's something about kids where my oldest, Todd, I don't know if you remembered, around lunchtime, my oldest was dragging, and she was starting to get She was copping an attitude, and I was like, honey, go take a nap. But kids have such fear of missing out that she was like, oh, no, but because Esther and Hannah are going to be here, and I don't want to not be here. I was like, honey, that's so stupid. You're going to kill yourself because you're like, oh, but my sisters will get to swim while I sleep. I don't know. I don't know what age I got past the fear of missing out, but I'm perfectly fine.
I never got past it.
You mean you never even had it?
Yeah, I never got. I'm always worried. I don't ever want to miss out.
Oh yeah, I couldn't care less on 99%. If I'm tired, I'm like, hey, I'm taking a nap. I don't care what y'all do. Oh, you're going to do this? Okay, sounds fun. My body's telling me it is shutting down. So, anyways, Monday was great. Oh, I bring it up too, not just for the sake of small talk. My dad and we've been brewing every month for Brew Day Live at youtube.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. Last month's batch was an English brown ale. And I have to say, Todd, I'm very happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it's really good.
We brought a keg to the ranch. We hooked it up at the kegerator by the pool. I wish I would have taken a picture. Todd's pavilion at the pool, so ridiculously cool. I'm very impressed, boss, especially that you did it yourself with your friends. I mean, it was you didn't hire anything out. You ran all the lines for the water, for the electricity. Y'all built the frame up, the bat splash, everything looked so cool. But the shining piece is this 3-tap tower with ETS1, CM Becker ETS1 faucets on each one, flow control. There's a proper fridge next to it. And up there is the first draft that we did of the batch of English brown ale. And I was terrified because I just brought it in the car, this 3.5-hour drive the night before.
No, and it was clear.
It was crystal clear.
Great. It needed a little carbonation.
It did. It did need carbonation.
It was great.
Very smooth, very good summer drinking. You know, it could have been a little more bitter too. I didn't. I mean, I liked it. I liked how it turned out. But my dad and I haven't even tapped in officially to our keg, so it makes me feel even more confident now. You know, you brew these batches, and I believe in them, especially because we have such great sponsors, Muntons, Hops Direct, and Imperial Yeast. So our ingredients are on par, but you never know how a batch is going to turn out till you draft it. And that was very relieving. The last batch we brought you was that pale ale, which I was also very happy with. So,
oh yeah, I love that beer, and I brewed a Kolsch over the weekend too, so it should be ready pretty soon. And I was like, I got to brew a beer for the pool. I need a pool beer, so I decided to break down and brew a Kolsch, Josh's favorite, so that he's always happy when he comes to visit the pool.
Do you know how I was reminded that you brewed a Kolsch? Because the first night we get there at like 8-ish on Sunday night, And when it's time for bed, I put the girls in, and my oldest daughter goes, "Daddy, what's that sound?" Blub, 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 blub. Yep. His blow-off bucket over, you know where his brew station is, James. His blow-off bucket was just going to town. And I had to explain to her, "Oh, honey, yeah, that's Mr. Todd's beer. That's just chugging away." But blub, 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 blub. Right. Real quick, before I move on. Hey, hold on. I still have small talk. My wife from Portland, one of her best friends came from Australia. Look what she got me. She brought it back. It is a bottle opener made from kangaroo scrotum. Look at that. Isn't that the stupidest thing?
Questions.
No,
it's actually made from a kangaroo scrotum.
Yes.
That's cool.
See?
I gotta buy one of those when I go to Australia.
You mean, look at that.
That's for nice.
I was like, she thought I was going to hate it. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. The bottle opener's in the shape of Australia, and it's legit. You know, it's funny. My chocolate lab, he is so infatuated with it. I brought it home, and he's like, hey, what's that? Oh, hey. But yeah, so I don't ever buy bottles. So maybe I'll bring it to the ranch, Todd. Can this be a shining conversation piece? Okay, maybe I'll do that. Anyways, the last bit of small talk before we get into listener feedback and questions.
More small talk?
Yes, because speaking of our incredible recipes, if you would like to brew, it is the absolute last call for May's recipe, a delicious Mosaic Smash IPA. If you caught my pop and I last Friday at homebrewhappyhour.com, or pardon me, at youtube.com/homebrewhappyhour, you saw us brew this recipe. It is fermenting right now. Tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to do the dry hop of it. We are very happy with the brew day. It was very smooth. We used rice hulls, and guys, I think that, James, remember I was telling you about the issues we were kind of having with the batches of giving us some issues with the pump. I think rice hulls have resolved that. I think maybe going forward, we'll always incorporate rice hulls because they're cheap enough. And even if it's just placebo or just dumb luck, it seemed to have made a difference. So we'll probably end up using rice hulls in every future batch. But either way, you can go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Join a recipe receiving tier. When you're in one, it unlocks the post for the recipes. Go comment with how you want your grains. It is the absolute last call. Everybody who is already a member of a recipe receiving tier, these shipped out for you guys on Tuesday. They couldn't Monday. It was a holiday, but they went out Tuesday. If you haven't gotten yours yet, by the time you're listening, message me, 325-305-6107. I'll get you your tracking number. No biggie at all. I've got the sheet here. So that is, I believe, the last bit of small talk. Oh, and then final reminder, because I've been telling people that we would do this. Prepare yourself for October, because that is when Alt Pokal will happen. We will be having it at the end, towards the end, like either the second to last weekend or the last weekend of October. And I just want to give you all a proper heads up, because sometimes people go, "Oh, I forgot when that was going to be, and I don't have enough time to brew and all that." I'm killing all the excuses. If you think you can brew the best alt beer, you have it ready by October. So whether that is waiting till we offer it as a recipe, hint, maybe that's what's for June, or if you just have your own recipe, or you bought Horst Dornbush's book and you want to use one of the many delicious recipes he included in there, just so you know, Alt Pokal is coming up in October. So with all that being said, I do think that's all the small talk. So
it's time for listener feedback.
We do have listener feedback. Were you falling asleep on me? I'm sorry. Okay, we do have listener feedback on this week's episode, and it is our buddy Chris from California.
Hey, this is Chris from Southern California. Josh, I saw your recent YouTube where you interviewed Trong from Homebrew Lab. My spike conical fermenter has a rotating racking arm, but I can never get all the beer out when transferring without picking up some trub as well. I wanted to try out Trong's floating dip tube with the filters, but the fermenter uses 1.5-inch triclover fittings. So I really had no easy way to connect tubing through one of those. I reached out to Trong by email, and he built me 2 custom fittings perfect for my setup, and they were on my doorstep a day later. I'm super impressed with his service, his ingenuity, and the quality of his work. I couldn't have purchased an existing product off the shelf that quickly. So great job in finding Trong and getting him out there. Thanks, and you guys take care. Happy brewing.
Chris, thank you so much. I include it. One, I always love hearing positive feedback on the guests we have on here, but also to bring up, since we've introduced the Float It 2.0 on our site, I would say they're flying. They are flying off the shelf. A lot of people interested in it. A lot of orders coming in for it. I've appreciated that. And yeah, Tron's the man. You'll see him on the show periodically throughout any given year. I can attest to that. He actually wanted to start doing like a monthly segment, and I was like, man, give me your ideas. Let me know. Because he's just on the go. All three of us have been on long conversations with him, and y'all know he has a gazillion ideas in that head of his. Everything. Always trying to innovate and all that. But yeah, if you go in the description below, either at YouTube or whatever app you're consuming this in, you'll see a link to the Float It 2.0. That is my right now product of the year for recommendation. I cannot recommend it enough. We've had it, my pop and I, on all the serving kegs we're using now, which is just 2 right now. But we're going to buy more because we've just been so impressed with how, as for serving, it's worked. But yeah, on fermenters too, I've heard incredible feedback from people of, good Lord, I can finally get every little last bit without bringing up trub. I don't know why people keep saying trub, but anyways.
I know. I heard him say that too. I'm like, what is trub?
Yeah, trub, klub. That doesn't make sense, Chris.
It does sound like it's being pronounced wrong when they say trub.
That's because it is.
You've been around us too much. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, Chris, thank you so much for the feedback. If you're like Chris and you want to get yourself a $25 gift card to CatConnection.com, call 325-305-6107 and leave voicemail, feedback, or preferably a question. Get yourself a $25 gift card to CatConnection.com. Like our first question of the show, it's our buddy Gary from Louisiana.
Hey, Josh, Gary Baker in Louisiana, coming in 3, 2, 1. Hello, Josh, Todd, and James. I got sort of a perplexing problem for you guys to solve this week. I've been homebrewing now for about 10 years, and until recently, haven't had to deal with this particular problem. I came up with a recipe for a cinnamon wheat ale, which folks love at Beer Fest here in Louisiana. I was advised by a pro brewer to add a pound of lactose in the brew, just to add some sweetness. But with the lactose not being fermentable, my batches starting at about 1.060 G are finishing at about 1.042, or about 3% ABV for a 13-pound grain bill. And my crush is good and everything, so I can't figure this out. Tasting the beer at kegging, too, it seems a lot stronger than 3%, more like 7%. Is there a way now that I can determine an accurate ABV, including an unfermentable add-on? Thanks, and happy brewing, guys. Bye.
Gary, thank you so much for submitting the question. Longtime listener. We love Gary. James, I'm going to throw it to you first. What do you think's going on? I mean, that seems like nothing in regards to fermentation. Like, how could it be? I'm not stalling.
Man,
you're right.
That's kind of outside my wheelhouse.
Stumping everybody.
I've brewed with a lot of lactose. So
what do you think then, Todd? What's going on?
I think he just has a problem with his fermentation. I mean, it has. I don't think it has anything to do with the lactose, because the lactose is, with 5 gallons, is going to add. Like if I look at my milk stout that I brew, it's at 1.062 with a pound of lactose and 1.053 without lactose. So the lactose, a pound of lactose is adding 0.009. So, that's not and if he's only hitting 4 or 5, he should be hitting basically a lot like if you're wanting to hit 1.01, which is what a lot of things shoot for. Obviously, you wouldn't with that beer, but on a regular beer, let's say you wanted to hit somewhere around there, or 1.012, something like that. Then if you add 0.009, we'll call it 10 even. He should be somewhere in the 1.02 range when he's finished fermenting. And if he's at the 1.04, then he's off quite a bit. So he just didn't get a complete fermentation. So total coincidence, in your opinion, that he happened to use lactose in this batch, but it was a stalled fermentation for other reasons. Like in your experience. Yeah. If he took his reading with the lactose in there, then he's going to get that lactose is going to be in his reading, and his final gravity is probably going to be about tenth higher than what he would normally shoot for. So again, like 1.02. Didn't he say he hit 1.04 or something?
No, he said 1.042. Yep.
Yeah. So that's 20 points. I mean, it just didn't ferment all the way. He may not have had enough yeast or something happened.
Okay. So just to make sure I understand, because I'm the idiot in this, shtick of ours, lactose doesn't contribute to delayed like if you overuse lactose, that wouldn't be a contributing factor to delaying fermentation or
no.
Okay. I don't
know.
know.
It just doesn't ferment. So, it's called a non-fermentable. Of course, it ferments a little bit, but it not very much. So it's not, a pound of that in there is not going to cause a problem with the fermentation. It's just, I've done it quite a bit. I think I don't have that recipe up, but I looked at it earlier when I saw this question, and I don't know what my final gravity is supposed to be, but it's probably like 1.02 or something.
Well, I was going to ask what percentage of a bill, because this is less than 10%. I'm not doing the math because I'm bad at math, but like James, if you were doing a recipe with lactose, which again, I know you don't usually, because I don't usually either. It's not in a German Pilsner with lactose. We don't do that, but
I would never do that.
But let's go back to hophead days of James Carlson. What percentage of a grain bill would you, lactose never go above 10%, never, like what is even the use of lactose? Is it just to add some sweetening? Does it do anything to the mouthfeel?
It's an unfermentable sugar, so you're just adding sweetness, which actually adds body too.
There's a lot of body. Yeah.
That's a pound seems like a lot to me, but I don't use it, so I don't have a good reference.
Right,
Todd
totally.
would be the guy to ask on that.
Yeah.
I could pull so what did I say? I use milk stout.
Oh yeah, that's the only time my pop and I have used lactose, and I want to say
on a milk stout. Oh, this was actually an extract. I've brewed it as a non-extract. I don't know why that recipe is that way, but not that it would necessarily matter. But
you
anyway,
probably have it on your brewer's friend, I would think.
That's where I am, but I don't know why this one happens to be an extract. But it's it's 9.9%, so 10% of the grain bill. And the final gravity on this, the original gravity is 1.063. The final gravity is 1.024, which makes sense because if you had a 1.014 on a stout, that wouldn't be unusual. And it's a sweet stout, so you don't want it super dry. So that would make sense.
Okay, hear me out then. Left field curveball. Wait, that's wrong. You wouldn't throw a curveball from left field. Either way, curveball into the equation here. Is it possible his hydrometer is messing up? Because the second part of this whole thing is, man, when I taste it, it tastes boozy. It doesn't taste like 3%. Could it be
absolutely.
So what would cause a hydrometer to fail? Does age? Do hydrometers just go bad with age?
No.
You don't have them long enough.
I have a hydrometer at home my dad gave me that he started using 40 years ago.
You haven't broken that one? Oh.
No. But it's the way those hydrometers work, they have the stuff in the bottom. And now if that stuff in the bottom is moving all around, then that could be a problem. But if it's solid and it's still there, it should be fine. So I think, he may have just gotten a bad reading. Maybe he had a bunch of I don't know. I can't really tell you what happened. Okay.
Well, now I would say this is probably, like a lot of home brewers, this is probably a one first time batch. I would guess you could troubleshoot better, Todd, if you were to do the batch again and see if the same results happened and then troubleshoot from there. And you know what I mean? Like if you
yeah, but I don't think they would. I think if you had enough, maybe he either didn't have enough, maybe not enough yeast, or the yeast was old, or the reading, something was wrong with the reading.
Right.
From his description, it sounds like something was wrong with the reading because he said it tasted boozy. What I would do is drink 6 of them and see if you're hammered. If you're not hammered, then it didn't have enough alcohol. Yeah. If you are, then you got a problem with your.
I am gonna file this in my directory of relax, don't worry, have a homebrew, only because here's a confession real quick. We don't do it frequently, but this last batch, my dad and I forgot to take an original gravity reading. And I don't remember if we talked about it on the stream, because I think, no, we had stopped the stream before we got in there. I think we didn't realize it till the next day. And I confess that because frequently my dad and I don't actually care. What we actually care about is the final taste. That's really all we care about. And the clarification, I'm for beers that need it. I have been kind of a snob about like, oh my God, I'm so mad this beer's not clear. And
it was very clear, by the way.
Yeah, it was. That last one.
Well, that was the one before, but yeah.
Yeah, it was the one. Yeah. Yeah. The alt beer we brought you earlier in the year was a disaster. But other beers have been turning out better. But my main point being though, Gary, if it tastes good, hey man, good for you. The readings might not be that detrimental, but I understand the concern, because if it was a stalled fermentation, you want to get that fixed the next time you do that batch, because stalled fermentation, you're just not getting all the sugars converted that you want for the sake of the end result or what you're going to.
And that was one really nice thing about that Easy Dens that breaks when you look at it wrong, is that you could take a reading and tell what the alcohol was without knowing anything else. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah, but what are they retail though? $500, $600?
No, they're not that much.
$350? I don't know. Did you ever go to their booth at CBC and give them credit?
Oh yeah, I did.
I wasn't with you, but you're like, Anton Parr is here.
I gave them a hard time, and they were very nice. They were very, very nice. They were just basically like $450, basically.
That's a lot of money.
They were like, we've come out with a new cover for it, and that you can purchase, and that would probably help. But they are very delicate. I'm like, yeah, but it fell over on the counter and broke.
Yeah, it wasn't like a drop. Like it went.
I mean, they didn't seem very concerned. So.
Because our buddy Jonathan Marut, who's going to be on the show soon to talk about his award-winning Kolsch, look out for that. But he told me he's like, listen, the perspective of them homebrewers are a fraction of the just loads of money they bring in from all their other products, and more importantly from breweries. In the beer scene, breweries are spending gazillions of dollars on all their very expensive stuff. Homebrewers, they couldn't care less. They're like, you just gave us $450. Ugh. But anyways, Easy Dens. This episode is not brought to you by Easy Dens, but I could change my tune if they want to sponsor us. I'm a sellout quick, boss. You've seen it. But anyways, I think that wraps up. So for Gary's question, like you said, probably a bad reading is what you're going to go with the context we were given.
Yeah, I mean, either a bad reading or it's just didn't ferment all the way.
Right, but if that happened to you and you still like the taste, no harm, no foul, right? Okay, it still turned out, thankfully, turned out to be a good batch. So
yeah, is that what he said? He liked the taste?
Well, no, that's a good point. All he didn't comment on. He said just at tasting it seemed stronger. He didn't say one way or the other. You would think if it wasn't good, he would mention that.
Yeah.
But I bet you it turned out good. Gary, send me a text on your follow-up. And when I text you about getting your $25 gift card at ketconnection.com, you can tell me actually that batch was good or terrible. But anyways, thank you so much. And again, a reminder, when you leave a voicemail like our buddy Gary did to 325-305-6107, and I use it on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card to ketconnection.com. If you use that same hotline to text me or email joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com, and I use that question on a future episode, you still get yourself a $15 gift card, which I think is pretty good. Like our second question of the show, our buddy Chuck wrote in and he said, "Hello, gents. Do any of you have a recommendation for a solid mash paddle? I am finally putting your Ket Connection cooler brew system to use after buying it in November. My brewing was 1 gallon extract before this, so I doubt my wooden stirring spoon is big enough for the job now. Thank you for the incredible customer service all the time. Enjoy your podcast, Chuck." Thank you so much, Chuck, for pointing out our exceptional customer service. Mash paddles. I'd like to tell a story. James, I don't want to embarrass you and I don't want to throw you under the bus, but it's one of my favorite stories because when you were first...
He's going to embarrass you and throw you under the bus.
No. It's just a warning.
That's not going to bother me at all.
But it's just a cautionary tale for people who because not all paddles are built the same. And I only bring up your experience because when y'all were brewing on Big Bertha and the big system, y'all needed a big paddle. And so y'all got like a kayak paddle, right? But the only problem with it is it was treated. Like it had
it had water-based lacquer, whatever they used to dress it was water-based, and I guess when you heat it up, it's probably fine in cold water, but when you've got boiling water, it leached out into the beer. So you want to make sure it doesn't have. I don't even know. Todd's more he works wood more than I do. I don't even know if you'd want to put tung oil on one, because I don't think you'd want any kind of chemical on any kind of wood. I think you'd want to use hardwood, but nothing on it, because whatever's on it's going to end up in the beer and you'll taste it.
Yeah, I built one several years ago, and it ended up it had a fault in it, like a knot in the wood, and it at some point that broke off there. But until that happened, I loved that thing. But I ended up, you ordered me one, James, from More Beer, I believe. And it's stainless steel. Is that the same one that we have here? Or, I don't know. But anyway,
it's the one I have here is the one that we bought whenever we threw the boat oar away.
Okay.
We actually got the one that's in the room. We actually bought that. I don't even think they're in business anymore. A homebrew store in Austin, where I got that from. Or Brandon bought it and brought it back. But I love those. I think they're great. They won't break. They're stainless steel.
I was going to say mine. I got when the G40 came in, like a few months later, I think, or maybe it was even longer. I got a big old stainless steel one just from Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below. A Bayou Classic of all the things. They've been around. I feel like Bayou Classic's been around forever, Todd. Like in regards to crawfish boiling or any kind of kettles and burners and whatnot. What do you, is the fish this big? What are you doing with your hands?
Oh, I was reading on here. So this is a 36 inch. One of the things that I did on mine is I bought like a 60 inch, and it's way too long. So when I'm stirring, sometimes I hit the thing behind
the one
me.
James has right there.
It looks just like the one I have. It looks very similar, but they're $27.99 on More Beer. It's mash pedal, stainless steel, 36 inch. I love it. It works great.
That sounds like what I have. I think mine's 32 or 36 stainless steel, but mine has the holes in it. So let's
they have it with or without the holes.
Well, let's get two questions out of the way that I have to add on for Chuck for recommendations. One, we all agree, in my opinion, stainless steel is preferred if you're getting a mash paddle.
It'll last forever.
That's what I mean. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's very future-proof.
I'm going to make another
easy to clean
wood one at some point. I like it.
No, but you're making it because you did the first one out of mesquite, I believe.
Yeah, I was.
And you have a ton of mesquite trees on your property. It's a project thing for you. But if you were home brewer living in the city, didn't have property, couldn't destroy trees to make your own mash paddle, would you still go for wooden, or would you buy a stainless steel?
Probably, that's what I bought was a stainless steel. Yeah. They do have a really cool wood one on there too. That I was looking at. It's a hardwood mash pedal. It looks just like the ones everybody uses in their logos.
Oh yeah, well, even like in our Broadtod logo.
And it's the same price. It's $30.
Okay. Well, it's
made from white birch.
Like James said, I like stainless steel because it lasts forever. And so easy to clean. Oh my God. Those things are the best. If you're watching at YouTube, you'd see the one that they use right behind James. And he held it up for the camera earlier. Those things with holes or without holes are wonderful, which is the second part I'm going to ask. Mine has holes in it because it's just how it came. Y'all's doesn't. What difference would that make, James, in regards to?
Well, lets water pass through. It's easier to stir through the grain bed because, you're not moving water with grain. You're moving the grain.
With holes.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, with the holes, because the water pushes through.
Yeah.
You're able to move the grain more efficiently. Sometimes if you're moving water with grain, it just the grain will flow with the water around the paddle. But if you got holes in it, then you're actually stirring the grain and not moving water around.
Yeah, absolutely. Todd, the one that you have at the house at the barn does not have holes in it as well. It's the same one that James
looks just like that one. Yeah,
but you've enjoyed it too, because y'all's kettles are much bigger than mine. So I didn't know if. Like you said, yours is 36. You feel like that's too long for what you're doing?
No, mine's like 60 inches.
Oh, 60. Long. Pardon me, 60.
I need to cut half of the handle off because I keep hitting shit with it.
Todd, how tall are you? You and I are about the same height. How many inches are we? Like that says almost
60 is 5 feet.
Okay, so we're barely taller than your mash paddle. James is right there. Well, also James is 12 feet tall, so I don't know how long that one is.
I don't know. I don't have my measuring tape in here, but
the one I have looks just like that. So I just need to cut it off probably. I'm going to get James to weld a new cap on it with his stainless steel welder that we bought here.
Hey,
it's got a little button cap, but it's real easy to pop off.
Oh, see, mine's welded
like 14 years old.
No kidding. See, again, lasts forever. The thing looks great. Stainless steel, that's what I love about the stainless steel brewing systems, kettles, stainless steel kegs versus bottles or glass or whatever, stainless steel fermenters if you can. Stainless steel,
you just can't go wrong with it. It's clean, it's hygienic, it doesn't break. It's just it's a good product.
Yeah, absolutely. Stainless steel is wonderful. So, Chuck, this is where I throw it to the audience. If you're watching at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, let us know in the comments below how you prefer for your mash paddle. What are you using? Even if you're brewing bigger batches, maybe a stainless steel spoon. We do have those. Pardon me. We had them on kegconnection.com. We sold out of them, and we don't really do brewing equipment anymore. But I used a spoon for the longest time when we had our cooler brew, and that worked fine. But in hindsight, the Bayou Classic, which I will have in the links, I linked to it in the description below. That's my favorite right now. It's just easy to use. Ours, I don't think is even 38 inches, so it's not like Todd's where you're holding it like this. I can just hold it like this.
That's probably made for, because what they're known for is doing those turkeys in oil
and crawfish boils and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that's probably what they made it for. Yeah.
It works perfect with the G40, if anyone's wondering, which would make me think it'd work perfect for the cooler brew, which, by the way, moment of silence, one of my favorite systems, but we are almost completely sold. I think we are sold out of the...
We are.
Okay.
Yeah. We're out.
Completely done, but we still have a couple of DIY brow Todds if you want to get a brewing system from kegconnection.com. Use promo code HHH and save on your order. I forgot. I didn't do my whole people haven't been giving me props for not doing so much infomercial stuff. Guys, I've been trying to tone it down, but go to kegconnection.com, use promo code HHH and save. Anyways, Chuck, thank you so much for submitting that question. Before we get to our third and final question, a final reminder, if you text us to 325-305-6107, you get yourself a $15 gift card. That's pretty good, right? You say, I'm happy with that. But no, you could call it into 325-305-6107. Leave a voicemail and get yourself a $25 gift card. Who wouldn't want that? Then you can buy non-existent cooler brew or whatever. But anyways, our third and final question for this week's episode is a voicemail, and it is our buddy Bobby from South Carolina.
Hey there, Josh, Todd, and James. I'm trying to keep this brief as I can, but I'm hoping you might be able to solve a problem I had recently when trying to force carb a beer in a 5-gallon ball lock keg. I started out by filling the keg with sanitizer and pushing it out with CO2 to purge the keg. Then I pressure transferred a beer from the fermenter to the keg, and all of this was done around 12 to 15 psi. Finally, I went to force carb the beer using the method I've been using for a little while now, which is cranking the pressure up to 50 psi and letting it sit for 24 to 36 hours. I turned the regulator up to 50, connected the gas line, but no CO2 flowed. Then I tried the same thing with a different CO2 tank and regulator, same result. Then I tried putting the liquid disconnect on the gas line and hooking it to the liquid post. CO2 flowed for just a second and then stopped. At this point, I'm thinking something's up with my regulators, but then I hooked them up to different kegs and the CO2 flowed. Ultimately, I was able to carbonate the beer by setting the regulator to about 35 psi and left it for a bit longer. But I'd really like to know why this keg would not accept CO2 at 50 psi. Thanks for any insight you guys can provide. You're all the best, especially Joshua.
That's right. No, sorry. I was getting ahead of myself. Todd.
Well, good. I'm going to let Joshua answer the question since he's the best.
Go ahead, Josh.
So here's what I would think off the top of my head, because I didn't do any homework, I promise. Could it be a faulty PRV on his keg, or would that be audibly noticeable? Like, could the spring on the keg lid be faulty to where it's stopping it from getting up to 50? Or that wouldn't affect the flow though. That would just be coming
not
out.
Going in.
Yeah, you can hear it pop open.
I couldn't think of anything. And he actually messaged us before leaving the voicemail, and he was like, "Do you think this would be a good voicemail question?" And I could pull up the chat because most of it was just like, "Here's Todd's phone number. Why don't you call Todd? Hey, Todd could help you." And I'm kidding. I didn't do that. I tried to troubleshoot him through it. It got over my head though. If it is working on other kegs, but it's not working on this one, what would be your first idea, Todd, about?
Well, the fact that it works at 35 but not 50 is, it completely lost me there. I have no idea.
Well, as in, you don't think you think he's mistaken, as in CO2
No, I've said I don't have no, I mean, if it's working at 35 PSI on that same keg, and it works on other kegs at 50 PSI, but not 50 PSI on this keg, I mean, all it is an opening. Once it's open, it would flow at 50 the same as 35. There's no valve in between. There's nothing that could, I mean, I have no idea. I don't have a clue.
James, how would you might troubleshoot this if?
Well, he's got a closed sealed keg that he's trying to do a set and forget on, the way I'm reading it. So he's just letting it set. And it's going to, the gas, I know when we were doing 16-gallon kegs, we would have to do the set and forget because it's just too heavy to sit in your lap and shake. But what I would do from time to time is I'd pull the pressure relief valve on the coupler. You know, if we were using Sankey D kegs, 16-gallon Sankey D kegs, and then you could hear the gas bubble through the keg. Another thing too is I would slide it out of the kegerator and tilt it on its side just enough to where I could shake it a little and you could hear the gas flow. But the minute you stopped agitating the liquid, it wouldn't dissolve into the liquid. The only thing I'm thinking is that a higher pressure, it's kind of like hitting a wall. And at lower pressure, maybe it gives it a little more time to dissolve into the beer. And as you raise the pressure, technically you should be able to force carbonate quicker at a higher pressure than you do at a lower pressure. But the gas also has to dissolve into the liquid. So I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of is the reason why it's the higher pressure, kind of the CO2 hits a wall and it doesn't dissolve as efficiently into the liquid at a higher pressure than a low pressure. But I don't know. I force carbonate until I'm close and then I set and forget at 12. So I think normally 35 to 40 pounds is what I force carbonate on. You could go more, but I'm shaking it. I'm not just letting it set. So there's a chart online where you can look at volumes of CO2 with pressure versus temperature, and it'll tell you.
Yeah, we have it on Homebrew Happy Hour. We have a real good one on there.
Yeah. But believe me, this has just not been a week for my questions because none of these is my purview.
That's mine every week. That's me every week, dude. I just orchestrate. Would the temperature, because the keg he tested it in, Todd, had the batch of beer he's trying to carbonate, and he doesn't mention that the other kegs were full of any liquid. Would that be a factor, like the temperature of the beer? If let's say it's warm or room temp, if you did, like mine have been, when I go to the keg, they're at room temp. Is that going to give the perception of delayed infusion?
I understand what you're saying, but he's telling us that he's done this a bunch of times before. And he's telling us that it works the same. It works fine with the other kegs. That's what's throwing me off. We either don't have enough information or something really weird's happening, because if he does this all the time, he knows the beer has to be cold because he force carbonates other times. And he would know that, it's going to, if you don't agitate it, it's not going to be flowing a whole lot because he's done it with other kegs. This is his normal method, the way he always does it. So my understanding of what he's saying is that he's got multiple kegs. He's done this a bunch of times, and he's just got this one keg, and it doesn't work with that keg. And so there's something weird about that keg. I mean, and I'm really grasping at straws here because you want me to answer the question, even though I don't know what the answer is. But if I had to really grasp at straws, would be if there's an O-ring or some kind of something in there that when it goes up to 50, it's expanding a lot and stopping the flow somehow.
And it would have to be on both posts because he tried both posts.
Yeah, he tried both posts. So, I mean, frankly, I don't know the answer to this one.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
But the good news is it's 35 is more than adequate still for using the keg's not a bum keg. And like James said, I do 35, James, for forced carbing and rock it, and that's perfect. Or if he wanted to just do set and forget, now that's the keg where instead of 24 to 36 hours, now it's 3 days or 4 days or whatever. I'm not doing the proper math, but like they both said, you could go to Homebrew Happy Hour. We'll put the carbonation chart. Actually, I'll just put the link to it in the show notes, so that way you can just scroll below and click on it, and that'll be easier.
I had a hard time finding it the other day, but I think the way I finally found it was I searched for carbonation chart, maybe.
Yeah, I could. Do you want me to pin it to the home screen? Would that help? I could do that. I could actually put it in the calculator section too if we needed to, but it's not a calculator.
Would probably be. That would probably work. That's where I looked. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it was. I'll pin it to the homepage and I'll put it in the calculator so that way people.
Well, see, Josh always tells me. I always say I can't find stuff on there, and he always says nobody ever searches for anything on there. They find it from a different link, but people do search for stuff on there.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, we go to. I mean, I'm looking at calculators now.
No, it's not there yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I could put it in.
It does pull up when I type in the search bar carbonation chart,
right?
Which is not what I tried the first 5 times, but that's what it's actually named on there,
right?
So if somebody's trying to find it, just type in carbonation chart.
I'll pin it to the homepage.
Okay,
that's what I'll do. That way, maybe I'll replace one of the side. We've had that new to homebrewing squared ad on the homepage. I'll just put it there, or either right above it or replace it.
It's a great. I mean, these charts are pretty common on the internet too, but
they are.
It's a great chart because it's just, nobody understands volumes of carbonation. We've talked about that a lot on the show. That everybody that's brewers talk about volumes of carbonation, but most home brewers are, most people, including myself, are more comfortable just saying, "Yeah, I've got my beer at 11 psi, 38 degrees." Okay, well, I'd like a little more carbonation, so I'm going to go to 15. I'd like a little less, so I'm going to go to 8 psi. But all that depends on the temperature, which, since I'm always keeping my beer somewhere between 36 and 38, it's not really a variable for me, so I can do that. But if you varied your temperature a lot, then you wouldn't just be able to use PSI, and the volumes of carbonation will explain that a lot better.
Absolutely. And this is one of those questions where, hey, we got stumped, but if you're watching at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, let me know what you think what could be going on, or how would you troubleshoot it? Put it in the comments below. If you're only listening to us, like 99.999% of y'all are, you could call in your feedback, and if it really explains it and is really good, to 325-305-6107. I'll play it on a future episode, and you'll get yourself a $25 gift card like our buddy Bobby from South Carolina did. It's a win-win, because I would like to get to the bottom of what's going on, or get some outside perspective on how we could help troubleshoot it, because it just doesn't make sense. It is an anomaly. But again, on the good side of things, guys, it's still a very usable keg. Like, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh no, now the keg is trash. Nope. The keg is still perfectly usable, and so on. So anyways, thank you, Bobby, for submitting that. Guys, unless you had something to add to that question, that's all I've got for this week.
Okay.
Perfect. Right. I wasn't going to drag it out anymore. We got done in good time. Y'all, it's a very busy day. I could go on about what's going on in my life, but I'm not gonna, because that's the end of the show. Thank y'all for your time. I appreciate it. James, next week, right? You're out. Yeah. You're gone.
Yep, he's gone.
Vacation.
And then you're gone the week after that.
I am. That's right. We're not. Actually, you're going the opposite. I'll say we might be passing by each other, but no, you're not going to the beach.
I'll have my computer with me. I may jump in on the podcast.
Shut up. For real?
Yeah, I don't have a problem, dude. I've done it before.
I know you have, but I hate asking you. Oh my gosh.
No, it's no big deal. I mean, we're going to be at Julie's parents' house, so.
Oh, perfect. Then you're right. Yep. Yeah, I gotta go work. Sorry, babe, gotta work. I appreciate it. Sweet. Yeah. So then hopefully we'll see you next week. But guys, y'all have a great week. We'll catch you soon.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, hear me out. Get yourself a $25 gift card and leave a voicemail to 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsors like Muntons Malt, premium grains for a better brew day. If you aren't already brewing with Muntons, give them a try by joining our Trub Club at a recipe receiving level. For the best hops available online, give our friends at hopsdirect.com a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of Imperial yeast along with delicious and premium recipes from us when you join the Trub Club. So go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.